And hello there, children. What's going on, tea-sippers and carrying on?
You had enough?
What's happening? Okay. I am coming here because I have a couple things I want to share with you, or at least get it together with you and carrying on, because I was listening to this particular broadcast earlier on YouTube, and it has me wanting to say a few things today, and I need to talk to y'all. So I really want to get to the conscious community. Those of you who claim y'all woke, those of you who claim that y'all are down for black folks, those of you who claim that black folks need X, Y, and Z and all this, that, and the third, honey. This is what I want to get into conversation with. So we're going to dish some tea or dunk some crumpets, okay? So before we get started and everything, for those of you who don't know who I am, this is Demetrius Big Meach Taylor, and you are dishing tea with Big Meach right here and right now, whether you're listening to me on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or on Twitter. We're getting ready to do this thing right here. Now, I'm going to be real, I always want to be real quick, but y'all know I'm talking as a hobby. But I just got slightly pissed, and so I want to come in and talk with you for just half a second. But in the meantime and in between time, make sure y'all follow me everywhere, honey. Go to my website, dishingtea.com, for everything dishing tea and all of that. And I'm going to say this now because I haven't said it in a while. Go order both of my books, Awakenings, Epiphanies Along a Spiritual Journey, and its companion piece, Revelations, Affirmations, and Confirmations. You can find all of that on the website, okay? And y'all know I have oils now, so I'm doing my own scent line. Sensuality is all about the tea. So you can find out more about my oils on the website as well. And since I can't describe the scents, what I am doing is I will send out samples. I have little video 1 ounce sample bottles, so you get a small or a large pack. Okay, the $5 and $12. Okay, that'll all be on the website as well. Oh, y'all are coming up in here real cutely, and that's kind of cute. So let me get started with what it is I have to say and want to bring to your attention. And let's get into some real discussion about it, okay? So let's do this. Let me ask, do you guys think that the African American community or the people of color, black and brown people, do you really believe that we have an agenda that wasn't met and is not being met? Do you think that there's a lot more that our federal government can do and some of our leaders can do to make sure that our quote-unquote issues are met and carried on? Did you think that President Obama was a good president? Or did you think that he sold us out and didn't do enough for black folks and only concerned himself with gays and Jews? Okay? The reason why I'm asking all of these questions is because every time that I hear somebody from the conscious community discuss black issues and discuss black empowerment and discuss what we're supposed to do as black people, I always get, you know, and I was hearing, what's the name of the little broadcast? The Black Authority. I think that's what I was listening to on YouTube. And we got into this he got into this thing of, Obama didn't do this, and John Lewis didn't do this. He didn't win no battles. He didn't win no battles. Okay? And so the question becomes, what battles do you think he was supposed to win and win solo? You see what I'm saying? And then I'm going to extend that, and I'm going to ask, what is it that is supposed to be on the black agenda that is specific to our needs as black people? Okay? Because every time I hear these particular arguments, I always hear, okay, we need to learn our history. We need to know where we come from. And we need to be woke. We need to wake up and understand this, that, and the other. The whole thing with Bill Cosby and O.J. Simpson and things about, where they did all this because they were fucking around with white women and things, and white women are the devil, and I done heard many commentaries on all of this kind of stuff. So I'm going to ask this question because for those of you who want to be woke, for those of you who are a part of the conscious community, for those of you who feel as though some of us are shucking and jiving and not doing what we're supposed to do, okay, as a black people. For those of you who feel as though that because you have that other black folks have white friends and this, that, and other, that they sell outs and things of that nature, and that they sleeping with the enemy or whatever. For those of you who believe that the only thing that's on the black agenda is for black folks to have the ability to, at the end of the day, sleep with white folks, I need for you to answer this question for me. What is it that we supposed to be fucking doing that you ain't doing? Okay? What is it that is supposed to be done, or what is it that was supposed to be on this damn agenda that is so specific that all of us are supposed to get it? Because every time I hear these conscious children, I keep hearing all this old hoopla. And y'all know I'm at work. Hold on.
30th floor. All clear at this time.
That's clear. 0210.
Okay, y'all know we're at the donut factory. But what is it that we as black folks are supposed to get that every time somebody don't do it or whatever, it's always shucking and jiving, it's always buck dancing, it's always, you know, the name calling the bed witches and the coons and this, that, and the other. What is it that you want us to really get that's supposed to be so that way that a lot of these conscious children have not galvanized the people to do? You know, and it's starting to become, I'm impassioned by it because some of the contributions are not being considered. You know, now I may not be out there on the front line with the black children and carrying on as far as marching, as far as being out there. I didn't go to the Million Man March because, number one, as a gay man at that time, I didn't think it had anything to do with me because the consciousness of all that didn't surround me. So fuck them. I didn't feel all that. And it still didn't as far as I was concerned. Okay, so what is it that we as black folks are supposed to get, and we supposed to understand about white folks? White folks is the enemy. White folks is this. What is it besides that we're supposed to get? What is it that Obama missed that you feel as though he should have done? When every time I hear these arguments, I say, well, we didn't go to the table the right way. We sit up there looking for the brother man hookup and thought that because we had this biracial brown-skinned black man up there in the office that miraculously racism was supposed to end or something, and that he was supposed to sit down there and make some shit happen, when everybody keep forgetting that everything that he tried to push forward got blocked by the Congress, and he had to fight his way through to get what was done. And then you're mad at the LGBT community because you said, well, that's all he concerned himself with. He didn't concern himself with blacks, when you never came up there to the fucking table outside of criticizing them. We had the National Black Congress, the Black Congressional Caucus and all that kind of shit. But what did y'all do to go up there to say this is what we need? What is it specifically that we need as black people that we have to put on the agenda? Because we know about jobs, we know about healthcare, we know about housing, we know about better education in schools or whatever. So those were talking issues during that particular time. Now that we are in a Trump administration, those things have been exacerbated now because we got this fool in the White House who knows nothing about nothing outside of business. He is all mergers and acquisitions, child. He is all about trying to further his own cause, how to sit up there and get coin in his pocket, and how to sit up there and how to teach the world how to be a dictator. Okay, so what is it specifically that we're supposed to be doing as a people that we have not galvanized to do? Y'all don't even go out there and vote properly or whatever. So what? Tell me that, because I get tired of hearing a lot of the fire talk, and it's good. You know, I'm not going to dismiss it because it's good. At the same time, where are we going with it? Are we just saying it just to rile up folks to do what with it? What are we going to do with it? You know what I'm saying? Black folks mad at all the other groups, okay? And I'm going to go to the LGBT community because that's my community. And as a black LGBT, I get tired of arguing with you motherfuckers about why you got to sit up there. You will argue that you gay before you argue that you black. And what is this unapologetically black bullshit? I get tired of all of that because, okay, as a black person in this country, if I say that I'm an American, like, okay, and don't claim African American, y'all got problems with that. If I sit down there and wear a dashiki and a kufi and carry it on and say that I celebrate Kwanzaa, then you want to sit down there and say, oh, you done forgot your Christian values, and how come you ain't celebrating Christmas, and how come you ain't on the Jesus cake? So what the fuck do you want, black folk? And the conscious community, please help me. I'm not trying to criticize y'all. What I really want is for you guys to come to the table and stop trying to call names. Stop trying to sit down there and abuse folks into thinking that because you call them coons and bed wenches and buck dancers and all this old bullshit, that that's supposed to jar somebody into wanting to say, oh, now we're going to pick up the crown and do this. How come I have not heard y'all attack the rapping community or whatever. The rappers and carrying on and the music industry, they're the ones that they done made all these millions of dollars and carrying on. How come we have not sat down and found a way? I'm all for rebuilding Black Wall Street, okay? I'm all for it. I'm looking to, as a budding entrepreneur myself with my oils and my books and carrying on, I'm looking to find a way how I could get a brick and mortar and sit down there and build something that's going to be, you know, of value, whatever. How come we have not, in all of these areas that's supposed to be so ghetto? Philadelphia is the city of brotherly love. That's Chocolate City. Washington, D.C., Chocolate City. I'm from Detroit. Y'all know that's black as hell, honey. Okay? And we in the Motown Sound. How come we have not, in these particular areas, have certain areas of the city, like you got Mexican Village, like you got Little Chinatown? How come we don't have those kind of things in the cities where it's all black businesses where they flourish and carry on like that? But yet and still, the conscious community always hollering about, oh, y'all don't do this, and y'all don't support black, and y'all don't that. Okay, so what are the solutions? What can we do to galvanize people to support what the movement is, if this is going to be a movement? Because is this a movement, or is this going to be a fucking political thing? You know, some kind of political rally and talking points. Bullet points on somebody's speech just to make folks feel good so you could get a fucking vote. You understand? So y'all talk to me, because see, I want us to come out of the whole church rhetoric kind of thing. You know, the response and call thing, the cadence that we hear in church. Okay, the pastor be up there preaching, and then, okay, say it, pastor. Okay, you better say it. Okay, I see that all the time in these little things that I watch. When I listen to the conscious children, I hear it all the time. Oh, brother so-and-so, yeah, you unapologetically black. You tell it like it is. These coons don't want to hear this shit. Yeah, they need to hear the truth. Okay, so now that you heard the truth, you woke. Ooh, you woke. What the fuck are we... Okay, how do we take the information... Okay, I'm sorry, I lost my signal. How do we take the information and move forward so that we can start to empower the people? Hey, Amanda. Hey, what's going on, girl? How do we get this to happen? How do we get it to move forward so that we can then be able to say that we, all of the things that we claim our heritage is all about? Okay, how do we do that without being a big old cesspool of noise? Okay, how do we do that? You know what I'm saying? How do we galvanize and get the people to come together? And I know that's a big ass cliche. We hear it all the time. Oh, we just need to come together. We just need to be, we need unity in the community. You know, and all those are all talking points. So now what is the action behind the people? Okay. What are the actions behind it? Yeah, this is Amanda. She's the FMB Manager.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I'm usually the closer, so we're
Okay.
getting a lot of
There we go.
All right, baby. Mwah. Kisses, loves, hugs. She's from Detroit as well. What do we do, people? Okay, what do we do? So I'm gonna take a break right there. Let me see who all came up in here, because y'all came up in here, baby.
27. Escort 1054 off the terrace.
All right. Copy that. Yeah. Okay, hold on. What we got? Oh, baby, y'all came up in here. So we got who? We got Arthur Michael Todd. We got Mickey. We got Juana. We got Tracy Quarterman. You up in here, Quarter? Hey, Quarter. Ralph that came up in here. Juana, friend. Hey, friend. Ribeiro son came in. Bruce, you're here. Peter, hey, how are you? Tony is here. Renew, hey. Oh, no, Renee, I'm sorry. Girl, okay. Oh, that's how you spell it. I'm sorry. That's Renee. Hey, baby, what's going on with you? Okay, all the smiley faces and stuff. Hey, J.L. Presley, hello there. Kendrick, hello. Willie, hey, how are you? Okay, smiley face. Leo, hey, baby, what's going on in your world? Ruben and Lorenzo and Eric and Cleo. Now, I know you hear me, okay, because you're one of the ones who may have an answer to this question. One of you say, well, for some reason, I can't hear the question because someone's shorthand. Okay, this thing keep. See, I'm on to something. Y'all know, yesterday I had no problem with my signal going out. Now today I'm on a black issue.
Escorted 1054.
That's all broke up.
Copy that. 0221.
Let's see. Isaac, you came up in here. Jason, you here? Hey, baby. Terrence is back.
1027. Check the main lobby. Delivers to terrorists.
Hold on, y'all.
All clear this time.
Clear 221.
Okay, Chemo, you up in here. Mitchell, hey, Mitch, what's going on, baby? Oh, Mitch, did you see my post that Keenan had the baby? They had the baby. Gary, hey, you up here? Kyrie, hey, what's going on, baby? Hey, cuz, I see you up here, Miss Esprinay. Temujin, you here? Terry, hey, baby, what's going on with you? Hello to you as well. So, all right. So this is what I'm asking, folks. I need for us to I've been asking this for a little piece of a minute. What is the agenda? Let's create the agenda. You know, what is it that we as black folks specifically need to have on the agenda that we need to fight for, you know, outside of the end of racism? Because I really want to say something here. When Obama was in the office, I really believe that that a lot of people thought because he was up in there that we were going to get this brother hookup, okay? Like we do with the cable man. You see the cable man think you can sit up there and rub his palm or whatever, or sit back and you go get the hookup. You go get the hookup. But we never necessarily approached the issue, as far as I was concerned, in a way that was going to bring about attention. How many of y'all support the candidates? When y'all get the little emails and stuff and they say donate to the campaign and this, that, and that, how many of y'all do that? Okay, raise your hands. Okay. The ones that you want to support, did y'all sit down there and send them money for the campaign? Okay. And they ask for a little $5, $10, $25 to keep the campaign rolling. Did y'all ever do that? Well, if you don't, and I'm sure most of you probably don't, that there is part of funding or how we can get our people up in office, because it takes coin to do it. You see what I'm saying? That was some of the stuff that we learned back when we were back during the Martin Luther King days and stuff. And when they were marching and how many of y'all understand that we remember back in the day, and I know in Michigan we had that, but we always had the black slate. And I think y'all said this once before. The black slate was all of the candidates that was comprised on one slate that was supposed to have been for black issues and carrying on. You know what I'm saying? And they were vetted out or whatever, and everybody believed that these were going to be the candidates that were supposed to support, our issues and carrying on. But how many times have we looked at that and really said these are what the issues are, without being ambiguous? if we say housing, what do we want about housing? We can't just say fair housing. We need to sit down there and say we need to stop predatory lending. We need to make sure that housing is going to be affordable. When we say affordable, we need to make sure that you're bringing housing into the areas where those who are making minimum wage or and under, okay, and I'm saying that cutely, but if you're making $10, $12, $13 an hour, you can't sit down there and afford no $200,000 house or whatever. That's not nothing that's affordable, because now it's going to sit down there and it's not going to be practical. You know, by the time you get through with closing costs of this, that, and the other, and by the time they sit up there and get a mortgage together, hell, you're going to be working, scraping, trying to pay the house note. And that's just the house note. You got to get insurance. You got to get all kinds of other stuff. You know, you got to have a kitty because you're going to be owning the house then. So now it's the upkeep of the house. Then you got to sit up there and make sure a hot water tank love to go out. You know, those kinds of shit. Kids playing, oh, we're going to break a damn window. So you got to have incidental money. So when we say affordable housing, what do we mean when we say that? I have yet to hear it. I've yet to hear people say that we need more practices with small businesses. We need to make sure that blacks can open businesses. But let's go a little bit further than that. Because what we need to sit up there and say, we need to make sure that blacks don't get all these damn heavy ass taxes. That we end up, now I have yet to see this in writing. And I've been saying this, and so for those of you who can find this information in writing, give it to me. But, you know, those who come from overseas and the new Americans who come over here, they are able to get businesses, and they get those little tax breaks to where they don't pay taxes for 7 years. And on year 6.5, what happens? Akbar ended up selling his business to Muhammad, who was his brother, and now that it's under a new name, they get a whole new 7-year tax break. So these children now, we have 13.5, 14 years, ain't paid a tax. But black children get businesses, and they're the ones who have to end up paying all the taxes for the taxes that ain't been paid. So that there is something specific. Why have we not talked about that? And y'all say this is supposed to be on the black agenda. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about education, why have we not sat down there and talked about the teachers' salaries that carried on? Why have we not been on a recruitment to make sure we get black male teachers in the schools? What's that? The restroom key. The 48, yeah. Show him which key, because I don't think he knows which key. You may not know.
HRH?
Yeah. Pedro, make sure you lock it back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
So yeah. Okay. Wait a minute, Jason. You say what? Homeless and low income housing needs to be addressed. People that have been released from prison needs the opportunity of employment. Now, let's go. Here we go. Talk to me, baby. Because see, how do we reduce the recidivism of prisoners? Okay, how is it? See, y'all know I'm big on that one. You can't tell me that I paid my time. I've done the time for the crime, but yet the world still sees me as this criminal. Okay, my record then carries me. If I sit up there and did the time, all of my time, I'm not on probation or whatever, I've done my time, then I should be able to go in to get a job everywhere else without my record affecting me. You see what I'm saying? So how come we have not fought for those kinds of things? Because now, if you want to sit down there and put black men back, y'all keep saying that jails is, you know, where a lot of black men are. How come we have not said that this is something that we need to look at? We need to stop that cradle to jail pipeline or whatever, you know, and cut out some of these different kinds of avenues to where it attracts black men who are coming from impoverished neighborhoods or who coming from areas where they think that trying to make the hustle is what this is supposed to be. How come we have not addressed that to say this is something that needs some kind of mandate on it to where the federal government is saying they're looking at it? How come we have not policed ourselves enough to where if the government ain't doing it, how come we ain't doing it for ourselves anymore? You see what I'm saying? Now, I get upset with this argument because, and I'm hoping Haji come up in here, but he has not clicked in here just yet, because his argument is that we as black folks, we need to stop looking for white privilege. And what he means by that is, he says that we need to stop sitting up there criticizing one another and thinking that because we sit up there and talk like single mothers, you know, oh, black men ain't shit and blah, 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 blah. You know, stop having that kind of mentality. And he believes that if we get into a thing where we could stop looking for white approval, and we could stop the pipeline of thinking that it means all we got to do that goes over there. It doesn't have a spot, so put it on one of those little, yeah, they didn't put the thing on there. That we need to stop looking to the ultimate line being that having sex with white folks is the ultimate goal. You know, that basically he believes that all we want is the chance to sit up there and say that we having sex with white folks as the end all be all, because in our society we have come to believe that having sex with a white woman for straight children now, and he says that gay men and that the black LGBT community, that we fall into this too, that having sex with white folks comes to be a prize for us, and that gives us our kudo points, and that gives us our way of looking into the world and saying that we've achieved something. And I have a problem with that argument, because it makes it sound like everybody want that there is on the minds of everybody. And I think it's so generalized or whatever, but I think it upsets me too, because I know that there is some truth in it for those, because I know folks who sit up there and say that they they date outside of their race or whatever because they looking to increase their credit score. I only date white folks so I get a better credit score, or I could get them to get me into places that a black person won't get me into. I've heard this from folks. I've heard this. Okay, and I'm one who I believe love is love. Okay, love is love. You can't help who you fall in love with, but what you can help is how you react to it. You know what I'm saying? I do not like the fact that those who become exclusively out of their race, I don't like that. Okay, and yes, have I benefited from it? Of course I have, because I've dated whites and white boys in Canada, and I've slept with a few in my time or whatever, and they were ones who said, "Oh, I don't fuck with white folks," and I've benefited from it. But at the same time, I don't particularly care for those who say that exclusively they're dating outside of their race exclusively. Not that it's a preference, but you want to be exclusive. And why that bothers me is because how can you turn your back on the very essence of people who you come from? I, as a black man, honey, it would be ludicrous for me to sit down there and say, "Oh, I hate black folks," and for me, it dims a light on me. I may not like these motherfuckers a lot because it's some crazy ass shit, but that's universal or omniversal because it goes across the line. But at the same time, for those who say that they exclusively date outside of their race, that's where our Haji's argument starts to get to me, because I know folks who do that and say that this is what they do for the upgrade. You know what I'm saying? So I asked this on, that's the name of the blog here, of this particular talk. Is sleeping with white folks the only thing that's on the black agenda? And if it's not, then tell me what is. Because it doesn't seem as though we have put an agenda together. It doesn't seem like we're fighting for the same things. I think we have gotten so individualized, and we have gotten so into wanting to make sure that I'm heard, to where we forget about there's a collective stake here. There's a collective state. Now, I also know that not one solution is for everybody, because you can't box everything into, everyone into the same thing. So that's fine. But we have not sat down there and put at the table decent solutions or stuff that's going to make sense, so that we can say, okay, this is the outline. Okay. This is the outline. This is something that we have to work with. You know what I'm saying? And then I know that there are some who go way on the other side and want to sit down there and make ridiculous requests or whatever. I told y'all before, that whole reparations thing, I'm so sick of y'all talking about fucking reparations. We need reparations. Child, okay, we need it. But hell, what the fuck you gonna do with it if they decide to give it to you? You don't know how to keep your own. And I know my house it looks like damn hell done came through, and Katrina and Harvey and all these other damn hurricanes, honey. My house looked like a fucking shambles. And that's only 750 square feet. So you talking about 40 whole acres?
I'm going to the restroom.
You talking about 40 whole acres? What the hell you gonna do with all of that? And you don't know, you can't even keep your grass cut. You don't even know how to keep your kids from tearing up your shit. Okay, what do those walls look like? When was the last time you did the walls? You know what I'm saying? And you talking about you want reparations and you want your 40 acres and a goddamn mule. Huh? What is that? Oh, yeah, here you go. Yeah, you know I'm talking about you, Hodge. Because I wanted you to get your ass up in here with this damn sex argument. Because I just put that up in here to folks. What is it? What is that the only thing that's on this agenda? Okay, is that the only thing that is on that agenda, honey? Is having sex with white folks the only thing that's on the black agenda? Hold on. Copy that. You know, is that the only thing that is on this damn agenda? Is that the only thing that we think about, or is that the prize that we're trying to get to and go for, or whatever? Is that the ultimate? Okay? Are we forsaking everything that we claim supposed to be so black and so this, to where all we want to do is fuck white people? And this is not to say that you're not supposed to, because and for my Caucasian children who may be on here, I'm hoping this doesn't offend you because we're talking black talk here. But sometimes, as when we want to talk, I think oftentimes we get into this space to where we don't want to offend you. But honey, at this particular time, if you get offended, okay, that's fine, because at this particular point, you don't understand why you may be offended. All you hearing is black talk. But see, when we trying to get down to issues and carrying on, I ain't got time to sit up there and be politically correct. You know what I'm saying? And oftentimes, it just becomes a whole big hoopla. Let me go to these comments, because y'all coming up in here, and I want to make sure I get them, because, yeah, Wanda, you say, well, I have an issue with the way of thinking that is low self-esteem worth. It's like you pimping yourself out for profit. Hey, Willie done came up in here. Terry, you say what? Those don't know who don't know their own work. And Wanda, you say what? If it's what? Oh, it's if it's there. That's weak. Okay, Demetrius, you done came up in here. How are you? Wanda, you say, well, we ain't gonna get one. Ha ha ha. Okay. Darian done came in. Hodge, I just called you out earlier. Wanda, you say, well, what do we do with the mule? Okay, okay, what we gonna do with one mule too? How about that? Okay. Would you say, Wanda, you say, well, for shallow people it is. Okay. Terry, you say, well, you're absolutely right about being individualized, but many of the younger generation don't have an interest in anything but gaming, sex, and so much bullshit. The mindset is so different for what should be important. Okay. I got that. Now, you know what? Here's something that I want to consider. Because, see, if the mindset has gotten that way, whose fault is that? Is that ours or is it the kids? Because, see, what did we do? Again, going back to these conscious children and this woke shit. What did we do or not do to make sure that our children are fortified? Hey. P. All right. So what are we doing? Okay, to where we got the kids to come out of the gaming and carrying on. What is it that we're doing to where sex is not the end all be all? you know, and the answer to everything. See, we have gotten to a point now, we have always been an oversexed society, but now sex has become the weapon, sex has become everything. Look at our laws and carried on. I mean, shit, according to the law, you're not even married until you fuck. It's called you got to consummate the marriage. If the marriage is not consummated, then it's considered not to be a marriage. Okay, on the books, you can get divorced if you have sex outside of the marriage, according to religious principles and carrying on. And the Catholic Church won't let you divorce, honey, unless there was infidelity. So see, sex is wrapped up in this so much and so intertwined to where now, is that the goal that we as black folks always look for, to say that we want to sleep with white folks? Okay. How do you say, well, what else do we brag and make excuses for? Okay, so what are you saying? You say we brag about sleeping with white folks or make excuses about it? What you saying? I'm trying to get that. Why don't you say right? Okay. Okay, and you respond to him, you say right. Okay, so what, help me understand where you're going with that, because maybe I'm misinterpreting that. They ain't connected with me yet. Okay, Willie, you say the key word is the collective. All other races work for the good of the collective. Ah, ha ha ha. Okay, I think we just hit something. I think we just hit something right there. Okay, is that what it is? Is that what it is? Is that everybody else get together and deal with the collective while we're so busy trying to deal with our own individuality? You know what I'm saying? And we won't sacrifice for the collective. You know, well, that ain't got nothing to do with me. You know, and I go back to the no snitch rule, honey. Snitches get stitches. Well, bitch, honey, look, the community is suffering. You know who the damn dope dealer is, but because you benefiting from it, or because your kids ain't the ones that got hurt or whatever this time, you gonna turn a deaf eye. It don't cost nothing to call the police from time to time, whatever. If they're making all the noise, if they're sitting up there fucking up the neighborhood, where are you and your guts to call the police and say, hey, we want this out of the community? Okay? That don't cost nothing. Okay? But y'all want to sit down here and go through all these damn changes and carrying on. And snitches get stitches. Okay? Until something happened to you, now all of a sudden you want everybody to sit down there and come to your defense. Oh, I know somebody saw something. Somebody saw something. Y'all need to, y'all just wrong. Y'all need to come. Okay, really? But you said snitches get stitches, bitch. How about that? The children. Right. Why don't you say, well, we are uncomfortable with these conversations. We are not ready to be woke because it requires thinking. Well, here's the thing about being woke. My contention with that is, once we get woke, what the hell do you do with it? Like I said, y'all have heard me say this before. When I wake up in the morning, I have to go and say my prayers or give my thanks. I have to go to the bathroom. I get in the shower. I brush what few teeth I got left. Okay, eat my breakfast and carry on. And then it's time to get up to go start the day. It's something to do. So when you woke, what the hell do you do now that you woke? How do we take that information and then make it tangible or make it profitable or make it an action word? More of an action word than just to say I'm woke. Because right now it sounds like it's a noun. It's a thing. Woke, honey, it's supposed to be, that's the past tense of wake, ain't it? Okay? Wake is an action. Okay? So what do we do? All right? Okay, right, Jason Cole, okay, you gave that to with a great point. With Terry, you say what? I don't understand either, because white folks always want a black person because to them, we are a delicacy. So we should realize we are the trophy piece. Very interesting point. Okay, that's a good point. That's a good point. But here, I know folks who sit up there and they claim they don't like being fetishes. Okay, I don't want to be no fetish, and I don't like being the flavor of the month, as it was said to me before. Okay, so now again, how do we move forward from it? Where do we go in this particular in this conversation? Okay, how do we move forward? And then if we're moving forward, in what direction do we move? And then what are we doing with the move? Are we just walking to be walking blindly, blind and aimlessly? Or are we walking with purpose? How did you say what? When we have sex or lust with whites, it's called moving up. When we get our dream white, and they out nigger us when they get a Bible load of excuses. Hell, when Emmett Till was being tortured, he, wait a minute, at a young age was bragging about a white woman who he said was in love with him. Okay, now hold on. Because we got to look at the times of that too. Because we're talking about now in Emmett Till day and carrying on, because of the segregation, the way the segregation was or whatever. If someone shows an interest in you, okay, then what is that supposed to mean, honey? See, we're getting penalized because folks show genuine interest. Are we not supposed to be human and say this? I'm genuinely interested in the white person, or a white person cannot be genuinely interested in the black person? Why is it that it always seems as though it's the come up, or I'm only doing this simply because this is a fetish? Oh, I want big mandingo, okay? Or blonde hair, blue eyes, honey, it's supposed to be the prize. Why is it that we automatically go there versus looking at this from a point of view of perhaps love done came in? You know what I'm saying? Why is that always so wrong? Because I'm not understanding why is it wrong. Now, I do get for those who, again, going back to the exclusivity shit, when you sit down there and you target a race and ignore your own simply because you feel as though I only want to be involved in this because my race is trash, my race is this, my race is that, they don't do nothing, it's not about this. And so because of whatever I like to say is internalized hatred or whatever, something about you hate something about yourself. Or, hold on. Copy that. So, whatever this is, you want to sit down here and go through all these particular changes, and then make the rest of the race suffer for it. Okay, why?
I'm going to mirror too and see something.
So, talk to me, people. Okay. Let's see what we got. Terry, you say, I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Kevin, came up here. One of you said, no one wants to stand up for what is right for all. We selfish. We don't want to do the work, but receive the benefits from the unselfish. How about that one? I can't fuck with that one because that's so true. Because, what'd you say? Because you shame if... Oh, because you're ashamed of who you are. How about that? Okay. How did you say, well, if love came in, why their opinion don't change? Now that, I can't fuck with that one. Now that's a good one, Audrey. I'll give you that one. I will give you that one because I think that part of the argument is where everybody else is. And having dated a white guy, I dated him because we had a lot in common. But I had everybody in my ear. We get that all the time. Child, he just gonna wait. I don't know how you gonna date this white boy because, all he waiting on is the chance to call you a nigga. And I didn't want to hear that, right? I'm like, no, child, that ain't it. This, that, and the other. Now, he was down with the culture thing. He wanted, he wanted the cool. Like we say, oh, he cool. Until he called the UPS guy a stupid nigga. Because he was mad. And I told y'all that story before because his parking spot. And he was having a bad day that day. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And he and the UPS guy got into an argument. And he called him a stupid nigga. In that malicious tone. In that tone that we all know. That I'm a whoop your ass tone. And I was going to let the UPS driver kick his ass. Yes, I was. Okay.
Hey, y'all still got paychecks?
I was going to let him do that.
So we good for tomorrow.
And then I got out the car.
Yeah.
And I said, no, he didn't mean it like that. You know. And the UPS driver said, ain't that a bitch?
Yeah.
He called me a nigga and got a nigga in the car.
Sunday night.
Okay? And so I said, let me handle this. And it was that day that I broke it off. And I was like, no, because see, that became too much pressure for me. You know what I'm saying? It was too much. So he ended up proving the folks right in that particular instance. Willie, what'd you say? Willie says, treat it like a drug and just say no to white sex when it comes your way. It's just that simple unless you have the need to be a fetish. It's not love, like you said. It's the flavor of the moment.
Thank you, sir.
The flavor of the month. Maybe so. To some, yes. But what about, see, we keep negating human nature.
Oh, yeah.
And human, and human kindness or whatever. So basically, you know, this whole interracial thing or whatever happens. This is the PMPP. They can go back. They're going to probably come and get them to relock it. Okay. So where does that fit into play? Because see, now we're into this thing of who we can and cannot date. You know what I'm saying? That we done got into this whole thing, and I'm having a problem with that, because I get it on one hand, but I'm looking at it from the humanistic side, and that's the side a lot of people don't want to look at this as. And those of you who are the conscious children or whatever, y'all want to sit there and say, oh, folks who think like me, who sit there and think love can be love, y'all think that we're blinded by the fact that white supremacy doesn't exist and things like that. And I think a lot of times people think that, oh, because I'm dating someone white, that I, they're on here, that it's not supposed to be some kind of recourse or whatever, or that I'm going through and not be aware of the fact that white supremacy exists. And I think oftentimes folks go up into those particular relationships thinking that, oh, this is going to be the cure, oh, we're going to conquer racism or whatever. And I don't think that's the case. And I think all the time that's the part of the argument that a lot of people don't want to accept and don't want to hear. You know, you want to sit down there and go to, oh, you just going to white women because this, that, and the other. But I challenge black women all the time. What have you done that make a black man want to stay with you? Black men, y'all, the lazy ones, the shiftless, lazy ass motherfuckers who want to sit out there talking on you pimps, ballers, and shot callers. What the hell have you done to make folks want to stay with you outside of sit there looking like a fucking fool? What is it about your countenance that says somebody is supposed to be with you and someone wants to be down with that? What is it about? How come we can't come out of that ghetto mentality to rise up and sit up there and come into something else that's going to mean black empowerment? But because I'm not down with this or whatever, and because I choose to date someone outside of all of that, then something is wrong with that. See, I'm on both sides of this argument because I think the humanistic side of it is what we miss. How did you say what? Was it because you dislike blacks at the moment and found a guy or race of a guy who shared your dislike? What? Who? Are you asking that of me? When I dated MJ? Are you asking me that? Raymond, you say what? Why would you say he didn't mean it that way? Why would I say he didn't mean it that way? Because, like I said, I'm the one who spent time with him. Now, see, here we go. Now I got to justify him, and which is why I can't date white people anymore. Because I'm not going to sit up here and go for this tit for tat kind of thing. I knew he was mad, and I knew he was sitting there trying to go for attention because that was the kind of person he was. So I knew when he said it, he was trying to sit down there and go for a dig. Okay? But like I told him, you can't out-black me, fucker. Okay? I am a black person. You're not. So what we do with us and in our relationship or whatever, you can't do that around everybody. I can't take you around everybody and you feel comfortable enough to do that because everybody's not going to accept that. And so because we've had that conversation when we first started dating, I'm like, honey, wait a minute now. because he was cool and this, that, and the other. You know, he wasn't into the rap game. Y'all got white friends or whatever who they love all the rap songs or whatever, and but yet because when they with you, they could say the rap song and do the damn lyrics or whatever. But you know, when you get them around your friends, they can't sit down there and do the whole song. They got to do the radio edit version. Why? Because in this country, just for a white person to say the word nigga, everybody gonna turn around and what the fuck you say, and you sit up there quoting the song. That's the dumbest thing in the world. But I'll get on that later. Okay, Romeo, you in? Brian, you in? Reggie, you done came in. Hey, why don't you say what? People are too concerned about what the popular thing is in the culture and doing the popular thing, not thinking that that be and what and do. Not thinking to be and to do what you like. Okay. Why don't you say also nothing but living of the partner's gullibility and low self-esteem. Exactly. Okay, low self-esteem plays a big part of it. I do believe that as well. That was you, Raymond. How did you say what? Ain't it crazy only black folks can be lynched or jailed or alienated for sex or for liking whites? With Cosby, you don't see college people who went to the schools he donated to using their skills to help him. We have become an insane population. Now you know what, Hodge? I can't fuck with that one because I have to give you that one. That's okay. Hey, we finna grade to peel this onion back because that is a layer. That's a layer, okay? And then, because see, now I said this yesterday, in the live and in the posting and stuff, you know, they neutralized Cosby and they got him. Okay, the powers that be neutralized him. Now here's the question: what is it that we doing? Come on, conscious community. Come on, all of you who feel as though that we need to come together to be empowered. How come we have not rallied around our heroes and sheroes and carried on? Everybody is human, so there's a good and bad to everybody. Everybody got some shit that they done did that I don't like the term that I'm not so proud of, because when you did it, you was proud of it or whatever, or it was a stunt or whatever, you got some kind of enjoyment out of or carrying on. But there's some things that may question your character. Okay? And et cetera, or some shit that you had to do because at the time you just had to do it to get over and carry it on. So we all have something like that. You got your good and your evil side of you. So how come we have not started to rally around these people and put them in check the way that we do? Okay? This whole thing about sexual harassment and carrying on has been going on since women became a part of the population. Okay? This is nothing new. Okay, what is new is that we got visibility on it. Okay, so how come we're not getting around and rallying around folks, pulling them by their coattails? I say this all the damn time. Men folk, ever since we had a black president, okay, but no men have gotten together to rally around these boys to show them how to present themselves or whatever. Okay, how did you know I'm finna go there about the pants thing? About the sagging of the pants and what that image is. Nobody has rallied around them. The conscious children haven't even rallied around and say, listen, you know, we need to elevate our consciousness. You know, when you sag your pants, that says this, that says that. Not paying attention to they have re-evolved the definition of it, but we haven't even rallied around that. Or sit up there to educate folks on what the damn style means now. Okay, it means this, it means that. We haven't done either side of that. You know what I'm saying? So how is it that we won't rally around the power, you know, those who we claim are the powers that be in this, that, and the other, or those who we feel are part of the elites and carrying on without being yes men, or without thinking that, oh, because I'm around them, I'm going to get some of their coin and this, that, and the other. How come we have not set a precedent and said, listen, we need to police them and bring them into the fold or whatever? How come we haven't done that? They do it all the time when they on drugs and shit, and, you know, they know how to... hold on.
Back to the house. All clear this time.
Copy that. They know how to sit down there. That wasn't what he did. And rally around when they go into I'm sorry, I'm sitting up here trying to get my log and stuff together, and I'm missing my thought. But I'm talking about when they on drugs and shit, they know how to sweep them up into a rehab center some damn where and carrying on. So they know how to do that. But how come we haven't rallied around our people and said, okay, this is the kind of protections that we need, and this, that, and the other? Huh? Okay, what we got? We got, Reggie, you said so many times. Daryl, you came in. Raymond, you say what? He should not feel comfortable about, he should not feel comfortable about any of that. Well, here's the thing. It's just like, how do you tell that to white folks who've grown up around black folks forever? You know what I'm saying? You see white folks all the time who they've been in urban communities that's been predominantly black and carried on, and they've become a part of the culture and things. So how could you tell them that they cannot be comfortable with that? You know, and that's all they hear all day. Shit, we say nigga and stuff to each other all the damn time. So how come he could not be comfortable with that? You know what I'm saying? But what he did not expect was that everybody, see, I'm a different kind of cat or whatever. So, you know, I understood and carried on throughout the time. And we only dated for 4 months. I'm going to cutting this in a minute because we got to switch out. But we only end up dating for 4 months. But in that time, you know, as I got to know him and carried on and this, that, and the other, there were some things that had come out. So to say he should not have felt comfortable, that's unfair, because that's what he knew. You know, he'd been around black folks and stuff like that, and was fascinated with the culture. I thought he could be. In fact, that was part of one of the reasons that we broke up too, because he was a white Italian boy who thought he was a black female in his innermost thoughts. Whatever. Okay, yeah, he was afflicted. Okay. Willie, you say, well, I may not be prejudiced in saying, I know I may be prejudiced in saying this, but I think that the other races do see blacks as sex objects and for what they perceive as our sexual prowess. I can't fuck with that, baby, because see, that there has been something that has been a part of our legacy here as blacks in this country. You know, we have always outperformed out that. So our sex has always been something that way. I mean, hell, when they separated blacks from their families or whatever, men was laying it down because they didn't know when they were going to see their wives and stuff again. So that's been a part of the legacy of who we are. So yeah, I can't fuck with that. Wanda, you say what? I dated white men, and we had that discussion prior to, and there was a line in the sand, and I didn't want a white guy to be black. I already know who I was, and never expected them to be anything other than what they were. Variety is the spice of life. I agree. That's what I was trying to tell mine, honey, but he was so caught up in this little bullshit to where, hey, that's what it was. Okay, Haji, you say, well, sexual harassment is really a weaponized fight between white men and white women fighting over who gets to break off their feet in black people. Now, that's very interesting. That's very interesting. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that one, but I could see where you're going with that. But, okay. That one is a little harsh. Go further with that. Explain that one, because explain that bullshit, because that ain't making. I mean, it makes sense, but it don't. Because you ain't sold me on that one. I see where you're going, but sell me on it. Sell it. Raymond, you say, well, I never been around white people that challenge the line, or even black people. Good for you, honey, because it ain't cute. It's really not pretty when they get on there and think that they're entitled to it, or felt as though they were comfortable. And see, that's what I had to tell him about white privilege and shit, because he didn't understand that it existed and all that kind of shit. And I was like, you sitting up here thinking that it was okay for you to do, just because you're not thinking. You don't think about the consequences. You ain't thought about shit, so you thought it was all right to do, So, yeah, be that as it may. Willie, you say what? The woke community needs to come together first. They all have way too many camps. They do too much debating one another and everyone else, but fall short on really uniting. Okay, I can't fuck with that one either. That there is gospel. Why don't you say that's what I do when I see young men and women in my kids' school, to show them about consequences of sagging and cursing, how that would affect them in their lives in the future, and in the future and time and place and time and place. How about that? Raymond, you say, well, we should not be comfortable with that either. Well, we should not be comfortable with that, but again, if the folks have been inoculated with the culture, they have no choice but to become comfortable with it, because this is what they've been inbred with. This is what they know. This is what they do. This is what all that is. Now, what I think you're saying is not be comfortable with the fact that this can be weaponized and has been used as a means to get over on people. You know what I'm saying? But oftentimes, if when Caucasians have been around blacks and really been around blacks and have assumed the culture because they've been inoculated with it, this is all that they know. You know what I'm saying? And so you know how it is when you get around other people, when they've been in their culture, and and you don't understand them because the cultures are different, so you have to learn their culture. But when white folks who have been in the inner cities and they have grown up around blacks and they went to school and carried on, this is all that they know, that's the only comfortability that they have. So it's still unfair to say that we should not expect them to be comfortable if they've been in the community to where culture's been able to breathe and live and carry on. They've been able to establish themselves. So that's a little unfair to say that comfortability should not be there. What we have to do is make sure that we understand boundaries, and I think this may be where you're going with that. Okay, Mickey, you done came up in here. Hey, girl, what's going on? How do you say, when we see pictures of blacks being lynched in suits, so sagging pants is not the problem? A sagging pants is homoerotica. If you like me and lusting your booty cleavage, sag anyway. Hell, gay people should say it because straight people are always in denial. You know what? Let me tell you something. If you want to see, I knew you were going to bring that damn argument up about folks being lynched in suits. Again, the times were different. The times where everybody were in suits and carrying on was to show that we were respectable people, that we knew how to dress and we knew how to do this and knew how to do that. Now, we have gotten away from being respectable and think that ghetto culture or jail culture or whatever, we have redefined all that as a people. See, blacks, we're good at behavior modification and redefining shit because we have allowed shit to become the norm. And so now this sagging shit, which was a jail thing, because it comes from the folks who got clothes that were too big for them because they couldn't wear belts to carry it on in the jails. They sagged because the shit was too big. Okay, so, and then it also became the sign, later it became a sign of who got punked out. Okay, or who became a bitch in the prison cells. So now it has now turned into a whole new thing because remember, we have allowed prison to become a rite of passage for our kids. We have said that it's okay for our kids to sit up here and go to jail because at the one point they were sitting up there going to jail to become rap stars because all the rap stars went to jail and came out with recording contracts and shit. So we have allowed that to infiltrate what it is that we do, okay, and who we are as a people. So now that the times have changed, now instead of wearing suits, they're lynching and carrying. Now they will lynch you in your damn pants. Hell, you can't even run from the cops no more because you got to hold your fucking pants. So the whole idea of that argument of, well, they lynched them in suits, so now sagging is not the issue. No, sagging is an issue when it comes to the image of what we're trying to portray. Because one of the things that we keep saying is, we're not that. Well, how come we, as the we're not that people, got these boys and stuff to tell them what the image is? How come we have not showed them, no, baby, this is, we have not said that. So it becomes a whole different argument because the times have changed. What we have allowed to be disgusting, we have now allowed to be the norm, and carrying on to where now we have to redefine the image. And so at this particular state of the game, that's why the whole sagging argument for me is important, because of the image that it portrays. Yes, you want to say it's homoerotica, but hell, I don't like to see nobody's dirty ass drawers. Ain't nothing sexy about that. These little fuckers walking around here with their damn drawers showing, and then they got stains and then they carrying on, or they dirty and things of that nature. Why? You know, that's dumb. It's crazy. It's silly. Has nothing to do with nothing. Okay? But just trying to show your ass. So if that's what you're going to do, then be honest about that and call it grace. Why don't you say, well, they are entitled to consequences? Yeah, they are. Raymond, you said, well, I meant that that didn't challenge the line. Okay, I feel you. Jason, you say, well, you love who you love. Every shade was beautifully made. We have forgotten who we are, kings and queens. Now let's back our kingdom, our houses, neighborhoods, and communities. We must have respect. Wait a minute. I'm losing my space. Hold on. We must have respect for each other, rather have a difference of opinion. We're all adults and we all have our needs. Yeah, that's true. Hold on, y'all. I'm switching out, so I got to grab my stuff. And we all have our needs, but our communities need to teach our children how to be respectful and responsible and productive citizens. LeBron James started a movement. We should follow his example. Okay, you know what? I'm going to give you that, baby. Because, yeah, we need to... Yeah, go ahead. You said made-up culture is not a real thing. Honey, wait a minute. What are you talking about as far as made-up culture? You can't make up a culture, child, if the culture is already there and you were exposed to it. That's not making up a culture. That there is saying that you've been inoculated to it. Either you're going to embrace it or you're going to leave it the fuck alone. Now, y'all know, back in the day when we were kids and carrying on, I know back home in Detroit, there was a number of people who were... they were black folks and white folks in the neighborhood and shit. And some white folks didn't want to be bothered, so they said to themselves. Okay? So, if they didn't want to be bothered, they didn't want to be bothered. You know. So, having said all that, hey, what's up, baby? So, having said all that, child, if they didn't want to be bothered with the culture, they wasn't bothered with the period. You know, but for those who embraced it, you can't say that they made up a culture because they didn't make it up. They just embraced it.
Y'all having a meeting back here.
Yeah. Wanda, you say, well, you have to talk to them, not talk at them, and understand and make sure you are understood. Yeah, that's true. That there is true. You can't get a damn job with your pants sagging. I don't want to see nobody's ass crack for females, their cleavage, time and place for everything. Plus, that's nasty and unsanitary. Okay, I ain't gonna fuck with that one. Okay, because I can't. Willie, you say, well, this is true. Okay, how do you say, well, white women campaigns, the black man, woman, and family are always the victim. A white woman can't be a victim if the white man... Wait a minute. I'm trying to get it. Oh, shit. Hold on. A white woman can't be a victim if the white man shares with her half his resources. Like with feminist movement, white women, white women won the right to recontrol the economic stability of blacks, aka welfare, child support, or school finances. Now, if you say that was the past, remember, black women had to get a white woman to vouch for her to get welfare, and that white woman and that white woman would take her check and even will that black woman to her kids. If you don't believe me, look it up. The help again. Okay, wait a minute. That was the past, child, and it wasn't that long ago of a past, but it was still the past because the welfare system was. Hell, you watch Claudine. Shit, go get the movie with Diane Carroll and James Earl Jones. Shit, keep away from the welfare man. Shit, come on now. Listen, It's not so much as sitting up there trying to, now we get, see, this is becoming semantics about what was the past and trying to hold on to a fucking point. It's not so much as trying to hold on to the damn point. The point of the matter is the times that we live in now. Again, for these woke conscious children, this is what I'm talking about with information. You got fucking information, but yet we're not moving forward with it because now we want to sit down here and argue about what's the past and what ain't. Let's understand this. The past was the past. Now, these particular times that we live in now, what we are assessing now is saying that everything now has changed because what we, in the past, what was supposed to be irregular and carrying on, we have now allowed to be the norm. So now how do we come out of this norm to where we're back to self, back to solid, back to number one? How do we do that? That there is the question. Okay. Now wait a minute, I'm gonna say this last thing and then I got to go. Here's the thing, as the parent, I don't need LeBron to show me or set examples. That's me and my sweet daddy husband. We do that. I appreciate him because he gives me hope to those who, wait a minute. He gives me hope to those who don't have those role models. Kudos to LeBron, but we can also do that as well. I would give you, see, I'm losing my signals. We can. Like I said, we get on the bandwagon and do what we can. Then we will have more of these kinds of positive influence and things to where it won't just be one particular leader or one particular do-I-did it. You know what I'm saying? Or you know, I keep saying we always looking for the next Martin Luther the King, honey. Okay, but why are we waiting on the next one? How come you can't do what you can do? And why are we always looking for one leader when everybody is a leader? You know, so you can all be your own leaders. And then when we come together, you know, okay, I'm working on this, you're working on that, okay, and then we come together to the meeting hole and be like, okay, this is what we're going to do to push it forward because this is the agenda. That there needs to be the focus. How did you say, what if it's normalized today, you haven't left the past? Haji, again, times have changed, but the more things change, the more things stay the same. You're the one who keep wanting to, you brought up the argument, well, they were lynched in suits. Now, sagging don't mean nothing. Sagging does mean something. If we're sitting there talking about the image of black folks and trying to uplift, that's where we got to start. See, it's little bitty steps, and folks don't want to take that and deal with the little stuff. See, it's the focus on some of the smaller. I keep losing my signal. We got to focus on some of the smaller things as well. Okay? So, with that being said, what'd you say, Husa Meach? I'm good. It's just that shit. This is what I'm talking about. When we having these kinds of discussions, we get caught up in fucking semantics instead of progressing. You know what I'm saying? And that's what frustrates me. So we're saying the same thing. It's just that everybody's trying to hold on to a fucking point instead of sitting up there saying, okay, listen, let's deal with this. We got to deal with the small stuff as well as this big stuff. And sometimes the small stuff seems so idiotic to where nobody wants to sit up there and deal with it because it's like we got bigger fish to fry. No, you can't fry that big motherfucker if you don't cut the damn thing up or clean it first. If you ain't got a big enough skillet, the bitch ain't gonna fry correctly anyway. So either you cut it up and deal with it in its pieces, or you're gonna end up eating some raw shit. So that's where it is. So on that, let me he finna photobomb me, this fucker. Okay. But nonetheless, let me end it here because I got to get to work. And in that regard, honey, if you love me, tell a friend, honey. If you hate me, tell an enemy. But do know this, one way, shape, style, form, or fashion, everything that I'm doing will move forward. Okay? So now, on that note, let's get to getting and let's make this happen. And we're going to do a few things there. So share this with everybody. Go and follow me. I'm going to post this up on YouTube as well and on the Twitter and on Instagram and all of those things. So on that, let's continue this discussion, baby. I'll talk with you soon. Ciao.